Hi, I'm Sandia from FPE Automation, and joining me today from Odense, Denmark is Anders Beck, Vice President of Strategy and Innovation at Universal Robots. Hi, Anders. Welcome to this edition of FPE Automation's Toolbox Explainer Series.
Thank you so much, Sandia.
For those who are watching and don't know, can you explain how a collaborative robot differs from a traditional industrial robot?
Absolutely. So you can say a collaborative robot is unique in the way it's often thought about in the applications it's used into. Of course, many sort of initially think about safety when thinking about collaborative robots, sort of the ability to work at least senselessly among sort of between humans. But actually, when we in Universal Robots think about the concept of collaborative robot, we actually think about it a little bit broader. We think about it as a tool, as a platform for making automation accessible, making automation simpler, and of course, having the opportunity to work senselessly in close proximity to humans is a way of making things simpler. But so is ease of use. So is easy integration of peripherals, easy access to the tools you need, the training you need, and so on, right? So for us, it's more of a concept than it's a given sort of safety norm.
I know that it has a huge ecosystem of products that work seamlessly alongside it, and that's growing every day.
Exactly.
Let's see. You wrote an article for the Robot Report. It was called 5 Robotic Predictions for 2023. And in that article, you mentioned that one of your predictions is that turnkey solutions and modular production will continue to make automation more accessible than ever.
That's exactly right.
Can you tell me a bit about that?
And I'd like to tell you why. Because one of really the big things we are seeing, and even today moving in automation, is this focus on simplicity. We know that there's so many sort of people that need help for automation out there. We know labor is scarce. We even know that it's often these days very hard to fill, especially sort of very repetitive tasks in manufacturing, and even beyond manufacturing for that matter. And to solve these kind of things, we also learning that the way that we've been approaching automation over the last couple of decades, where often automation solutions are developed as projects. They involve some amount of custom engineering and so on, was a really good way of solving those complex problems we attempted to tackle throughout the years. But when we look at the vast majority of processes in manufacturing, they are actually fairly similar. It can be stacking boxes on pallets. It can be welding. It can be sort of tending machines, picking parts in and out of machines. And even in those segments, there's by far not nearly enough automation. So there's so many manufacturers out there that does not know that they actually have the opportunities of sort of getting support from robots, from cobots for those kind of tasks. And when they are so fairly similar, and these type of manufacturers that doesn't even sort of have their day-to-day contact with the automation industry today, then it's actually a fairly long journey to embark into a new project, having a new solution developed, especially when these solutions already exist. So the things we see growing the most rapidly in the market is sort of this adoption of something that's more turnkey, that's actually almost built as a product. And I think we all know it, right? That of course, when automation solutions are built rapidly, uniquely for every application, it's somewhat of a refined prototype. Of course, people do a lot of great engineering out there, but if you compare that to a solution where today we see some of our partners using 1-2 years to develop the software, the hardware, the interfaces, the error handling, the manuals, the training, then all of a sudden you have a package that is on a completely different level, right? You have something that is mature, something where you can probably get a price up front because it's not a fairly unknown project. there'll be people ready to come and install it, and they can train your team. They can train sort of as a manufacturer. You can get the training. You would have the confidence that you would be able to operate, and it would run reliably. And you would even have people to call, because often if you have a question or if you have a problem, most likely they've heard it before. And some of the segments we've been seeing where these sort of turnkey solutions been growing, something like welding, has been growing more than 200% for us, because it's been primarily driven, or 200% even year over year, because it's been driven by this higher level of maturity in the solutions, and these turnkey solutions out there. So we really believe we can see that it's some of the things that drives the market. It gets cobots and technologies to manufacturers that have not been able to adopt it before, because it sort of becomes more of a product rather than a project.
We're certainly seeing that as well. And it's remarkable how a lot of these solutions can be brought in and set up in a matter of hours and
Yes.
up and running for these companies.
Exactly. And of course, the other trend is more along modular solutions. And it's painting pretty much the same picture, because of course, there are manufacturing problems that can be solved with these sort of turnkey solutions. Others have a different form, but sometimes maybe the core process are the same. And I think one of the learnings, and I've been working with automation and easy to use robotics for almost a couple of decades now. And I think one thing that really keeps being the thing is that the core problem has to be solved by someone, right? I mean, someone has to sit down and put that process into a piece of software, into a piece of product. And of course, the more we can replicate that, the more scale it gets, the simpler it gets to our end users. And having sort of these technology elements that also have a high level of maturity is also a thing that drives this kind of solution focus, but it probably drives it even beyond what can be served by something that's super productized. But we see more and more automation projects that are like 80% standard, and then there's some uniqueness and some customization. And a good example is, again, welding. We also see tools that pretty much embed the whole welding process, but maybe you would still want to customize how the layout is, how big the parts are, how they are fed in and out. But you don't want to reinvent how to make ease of use and ease of programming for the welding process. That can be a module that you just apply. So it is really one of the bigger trends that we can reuse engineering. We can do it once for the people that really understand the domain, and then get it out to a much broader audience. So yeah, it's exciting times ahead.
Exciting times indeed, yeah. In the article you wrote, you went on to predict that higher payload and longer reach cobots will change the landscape for some applications. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Absolutely, and hopefully not many have missed that we announced the launch of the UR20 last autumn, and we are sort of just about ready to start shipping it out to our customers as we speak. And we saw the demand even before sort of announcing it, but after announcing it, oh man, we have learned that the potentials of working with cobot automation for tasks that are heavier in payload than we've been serving before is enormous. And on top of that, the extended reach that the UR20 gives really also open up so many new opportunities. We sort of probably initially saw something like handling, palletizing, packaging as the key drivers for the demand of the UR20. But as soon as we announced it to the market, we've been overwhelmed by the ideas, the creativity that our partners, our ecosystem have around what new opportunities it unlocks. So we've been astonished, and even our sales teams, they are sort of ripping up page by page on the order book for the UR20 coming in. And maybe it's no surprise, because I mean the way the world is today, I think we're all obsessed about making sure that people are not used in places where they will have long-term challenges staying in those kind of jobs. And lifting heavy loads is something that we none of us would really like to be in. It's exactly those jobs that wear people out, and we have an increasing focus on automating, getting away from being the day-to-days of people, and beyond that, being able to reach further. It opened up new processes, welding larger pieces, gluing larger pieces. We've seen all sorts of new opportunities in the logistics. So we're quite excited about having the UR20 coming to the market, and we are just even more enthused and excited to see where it's gonna go into the market. It's a crazy ride.
We're eagerly anticipating it arriving at our door as well. Anders Bangetak, thank you so much for being with me today. It has been sincerely a pleasure.
You're very welcome, and thank you for having me.